Gotham Knights Episode 8, where we find out the Joker has a rather interesting place to store stolen paintings.
Easy peasy.
The Bat-Brat won't warn anyone when an army of villains is walking up behind them.
It's not that simple.
I want a name.
And Batman could have stopped all crime in Gotham if only he'd been walking around with a hammer and sickle.
Was going to give his fortune to the people of Gotham. The city's poor would no longer have to resort to crime to survive.
Yes, I don't know what was special about this episode, but it does get really bizarre. We start on a dark screen because we're in the boot of a car. Now I know what you're thinking, I was thinking it too. This is clearly from the perspective of somebody that they've kidnapped and put into the car. So even though what we're about to see is obviously done for budgetary reasons, it still makes sense.
As promised.
I really don't know why I had to get kidnapped by two guys who look like they've been watching Angel for the last 30 years. Yeah, that's how that'd work. Firstly, we can see the rope so we know they're getting pulled away, but why are they getting pulled into the sky? There's clearly somebody on the floor over here pulling him. Why is he going up? Don't worry, you don't need to see the fight. It's cheaper this way. Just get a load of stuntmen to dive in front of the camera, it'll be fine. And like I said, I could even understand it when it's filmed from the perspective of the kidnapped victim. It is strange how the point of view of the kidnapped victim isn't moving around at all though, isn't it? Our heroes come to rescue whoever's POV we're looking through.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah, we were a gun, folks. I don't know which one. Maybe it was the one at the top that was called Barry or something. But it does mean any budgetary excuses you could have had for filming it from the boot of a car no longer work.
Enough firepower in here to arm every criminal in Gotham.
Can't be that many criminals in Gotham then. It's only one car, mate. But the Gotham Knights have taken down another gang and decided to sign their work for the press again. Because what's the point of doing a good deed if you don't get to reap those oh-so-sweet virtue points off it on the news?
What are you doing? Just so the cops know who to thank.
She is definitely someone who takes photographs of her food for Instagram. But the gang has a problem.
Talon should be here by now.
Why wasn't he here before? And if he's your getaway driver, what transport did you use to get here in the first place, and why don't you drive away in that? I have so many questions.
Relax, he'll be here.
Why isn't he here already? The problem is police sirens are in the distance and they need to leave. But at that moment he arrives in a trashy van. I don't know why. I mean, let's be honest, there's definitely better getaway vehicles.
You stole a food truck?
It was the only thing I could find.
What do you mean it's the only thing you could find? Cars are literally everywhere. This is a major city. There's even 3 cars in the frame where you're saying you can't find a car. Now, we all know the actors in this show are older than the ages of the characters involved, which is supposed to be 15. I say supposed to be because at this point, I just think it's their IQ. But they all hop in the food truck, and remember it's a food truck because we see inside it later. Doesn't look like a food truck to me, and make their escape. Just in time for the police to turn up, who watch them drive off and don't do anything.
Where the hell were you?
My watch stopped.
Why does that make any difference? You didn't know when you were going to need him as a getaway driver. He needed to be there when he needed to be. You don't go, oh yeah, you can spend another half an hour on the Xbox, dude. Don't mind us, we're just going to fight an armed gang. You just stay on the console for a bit. This is Gotham Knights though, so the plot doesn't have to make sense, and what we've got here is the next part of the story, which is just going to coincidentally drop in our lap, like every other part of the story. Don't need a narrative to tie this all together, just accept that the Dungeon Master has told them to go on this quest, and so now we're off on the next mission.
Yeah, well, next time, find a new one.
I don't know why he's wearing it to begin with. This is the Court of Owls watch. It could have anything in it, like a microphone to spy on the members, GPS just in case one of them gets kidnapped. Of all the most stupid things to do with the Court of Owls watch, wear it is definitely near the top. We find out that gang they busted was just another gang from the ledger they stole in previous episode.
We could bust up every low-level criminal front in this thing and still not get any closer to finding the court.
So what was the point of stealing it in the first place? Why do you keep spending episodes to do something and then just go, well, that was pointless, I don't know why we did that? You don't know, why should I? Before you said that ledger was going to lead us to the Court of Owls, and now you're like, well, it's pointless. There's no use doing anything with this. It's not going to lead us to the Court of Owls. Why did we waste an hour of our lives on it then?
Maybe instead of pretending to be heroes, you could all be more focused on clearing our names.
I'm so glad that you actually remembered that for once. This many episodes in, and it's the first time you've remembered the actual point of the series. It was beginning to look like you could just interact with the police whenever you wanted and never have anything done to you, so I'm not really sure what would be the difference even if you did clear your names at this point.
What do you think we are trying to do?
Now, in this episode, they do get back to the actual plot, but with all these comments, it's like the writers are pissy at the other writers that just tried to extend the series for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and then it got back to somebody who actually cared. But this guy's got a problem, and so do I, because I didn't realize we had 4 Court of Owls watches. This is supposed to be the most dangerous criminal gang in the city. Can't even keep hold of their own watches. He notices, though, all of the watches have stopped at exactly the same time.
Notice anything?
Well, that was lucky. Oh, they did that just as you lay him down on the table. That's a coincidence. This guy was late for the van because his watch was broken. Didn't notice it spinning around all the time and think maybe there's something a little bit off with it.
Whoa.
Whoa. Because they seem to be doing it all the time.
I don't think they're broken at all. I think they're working perfectly.
Yeah, they're doing what?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, sending a message. Whoever writes this show loves putting in the most obvious questions all of the time. It feels like they're just screaming at the audience. Hey, keep up at the back. I know you're a little bit slow over there, but don't worry, I'm going to spell it out for you. That's my thinking face. We jump over to Castiel now with the woman that got Batman killed by poisoning him.
Is this a safe house or a drug den?
Well, it's discreet.
Sounds like a few package holidays I've been on in my time.
And for someone whose other options are behind bars or in the ground, I'd say this is a step up.
That first bit is the most important bit because he should be arresting her. She's doing the whole, oh, I've changed, I really care about Gotham, I can't believe the harm these people want to do to the city, and claiming she's turned over a new leaf and she really wants to help. Well, on one condition anyway.
I need full immunity and an order of federal protection, not the GCPD.
I could tell you what I know now and cut the series down by 5 episodes, but I'm not going to do it unless you give me this big long list of things, which will inevitably mean I die before ever giving you the answer. Look, this is Gotham Knights, the entire plot can be predicted, and I know that, because most of the reveals in this episode I did predict. Even the stuff I thought I got wrong turned out to be right.
And if they find out I'm about to talk, they will kill us both.
Don't you threaten me with a good time.
You'll be safe here.
He says, laying straight to her face. Remember, this Harvey is supposed to be the nice version, and he still somehow comes across as totally evil. Quite the talent you've got there, Castiel.
Don't go anywhere and don't talk to anyone.
Do I look as if I go anywhere? Do I look as if I talk to anybody?
Harvey, help me.
Don't worry, love, by the end of this episode, we will all have helped your career. But we're back at the house of Blondie's boyfriend's parents. He was in a coma in hospital and she was cheating on him with Castiel. I wonder if they can get her on the Whatever podcast for next week. I think that would be an interesting show.
You're exerting yourself too much.
You're the one making him walk across the room, love. If you wanted to help, bring the bed to him. I mean, you did for Castiel.
I'll get something to support your back.
With Castiel blowing your back out all night, I'm surprised you don't need some support of your own. But the problem is, as he reaches for his phone, he knocks it to the floor and finds a cufflink. A Harvey Dent cufflink. It's a little unbelievable that as he was leaving, he didn't notice his cuff flapping in the breeze. But with all the things getting blown last night, his cuff was probably the one he was thinking least about.
We had some of those lumbar pillows.
Which we? And why are those lumbar pillows on the sofa? No, don't worry about it, fella. I was doing a lot of yoga, mainly downwards dog.
Everything okay?
Yeah, love, don't worry. I'm just looking for this meme where it says, she's for the streets.
Everything's fine.
Now, that is sensible, given that he needs to recover from the hospital, so he can at least wait a week before he tells her to piss off.
Thank you.
No one has ever looked so horrified at being told thank you. He knows! Seriously, she hasn't looked that scared since somebody sent her a picture of egg cartons. I'm thinking of a 5-letter word, beginning with W.
7:21 a.m.
Wow, you can tell the time. I genuinely underestimated you. Or at least that's what I would have said if it wasn't 8:21 a.m. You literally showed us a zoomed-in picture of a clock where the time is integral to the puzzle and the location they end up going to, and you got them to say the wrong time because either you set it wrong deliberately and thought no one would notice, or you genuinely don't know how to tell the time. And quite frankly, I don't know which one's worse. It's either top drawer trolling or the thickest person on earth. I can't decide.
What's the second hand at?
Are you sure you don't want us to check the hour hand first? I have a feeling that may be a bigger problem.
2 seconds.
Oh yeah, you get that right, but you can't tell the difference between 7 and 8.
7:21 a.m., 3:05 p.m., and 9 p.m. on the dot.
Okay, this is wonderful, because you put 4 watches down so we can check you working. I mean, firstly, these are showing different times, and earlier on the episode, they all rotated round at the same time. Whoa. Which is how you knew they were sending out a signal. Now they've paused at separate times, all coincidentally showing different ones, so you can work it all out. I tell you what, it's lucky the court know which ones you've got so you can do this camera scene for them. Secondly, yeah, the one on the right has 3, the one on the left shows 9, but the 2 in the middle show entirely different signs. One's at 7:21, the other one's at 8:21. How did one person set all of these clocks up and not notice that 2 of them were entirely different times? Oh, you're just making a mountain out of a molehill. No, because that's integral to the plot. This destroys the entire episode.
So what's so special about those times of day?
You can bet the court knows.
Oh, you are absolutely a little pocket rocket, you are, aren't you? So this criminal empire got together and had these watches that send out signals and set times to certain things. You know what? I bet they know what they're trying to tell people. Are you sure? Because maybe they set up this very complex, expensive system for absolutely no reason whatsoever. They just send out random times and don't know what they mean themselves.
There's no way that's a coincidence.
Maybe they're planning something bad to go down at each time on the watches.
I don't know, maybe those are the 4 times of the day they pray to the flying spaghetti monster. Why are we trying to guess literally every possibility in the universe?
Watches. Time.
Oh, this guy just gets smarter the more he opens his mouth. Ice cream. Cold.
Watches. All the time.
Yes, watches tell time. Maybe this is what he meant, and the watches that tell time give away their location. This is literally the only logical train that we have for the entire plot. A watch tells time.
What if it means the key to finding the Quarter Owls are the watches they give their members?
Which tell the time. I guarantee you the writers are incredibly pleased with themselves about this. Yeah, we wrote this poem that spoke about watches and time. They'll never guess what it is when they're carrying those watches around with them all the time.
It's not just a time, it's a place.
Yeah, we're about to get a lot worse here. Because remember, Blondie's a genius, and so she works out something that nobody else can. The watches are latitude and longitude, which is why the time is important. Because if you're an hour off, that leads you to an entirely different place on Earth. But don't worry about that, because they're not even going to give you an explanation of how the clocks actually convert into time, and it doesn't make sense with the numbers they give you either.
9 p.m. on the dot, and the other two are 7:21 and 2 seconds and 3:05 and 13 seconds.
At least you didn't show us the watch which said 8:21 on it, I guess. I'll take the small blessings at this point.
It's not a time, and it's actually latitude and longitude.
Sounds like a leap.
Yeah, and a damn good one. Let her finish.
Let her cook! I knew I was old when I'm walking around and suddenly I keep hearing let 'em cook and let 'em land. The 2 most farcical sentences in the English language. Literally just popped up one day out of nowhere. Oh, hang on, there was a look there. Thought they'd defuse that bomb, but with a look like that, I think one's just gone off in her pants.
Latitude and longitude are expressed in degrees, minutes, and seconds.
Yes, degrees, minutes, and seconds, and we've got minutes and seconds, so degrees must be hours. So it'd be very important if hours was wrong in one of them, but we're going to ignore that anyway. Move on, it was a mistake, it's a continuity error. It's not like they're going to mess up on anything else in this scene.
I think the hour hand is probably degrees.
The hour hand is degrees, which works because a circle has 360 degrees, and there's 360 degrees in latitude and longitude, so this should be very easy to work out.
So how do we get latitude and longitude from those times?
Are you telling me you don't know a circle has 360 degrees in it, mate?
You want the long version or the short version?
Well, I'd want the one that actually makes sense, but I know we're not going to get that, so instead we're going to get this
Short version.
Latitude is 39 degrees, 21 minutes, 2 seconds, and longitude is 75 degrees, 5 minutes, 13 seconds.
Yeah. How? The hour hand is at 3 o'clock. So that would be 90 degrees. If you want to say the minute hand has moved it past it, well then it would be slightly over 90 degrees. So why are none of the numbers anywhere near 90 degrees?
It's 39 degrees, 75 degrees.
If you're thinking it's because they came up with a puzzle and then just gave a solution at the end and skipped the working out so that nobody would realize the solution doesn't match up with the puzzle, I think you'd be right.
The geo coordinates are within the greater Gotham area.
That's why, because we needed them to land on a specific location. By that point, we'd already set the watches to a certain time and they didn't match up. I'll take the short version, please, and just hope that nobody checks the working out. No one's going to be that much of an idiot. Do you think people are paying attention to this show? Why would anyone bother doing that?
Thank you, honors geography.
And an F in maths. Luckily, though, despite the fact she got the puzzle wrong, they end up at the right location. What a coincidence. They realize they're meeting tonight because they've got to pass information, probably the paintings. They're doing it in person so communications can't be intercepted. And then we get this little beauty.
How better to make sure the info only reaches their members than by something only their members have?
I don't know if you've noticed the minor flaw in her statement. It's not something that only their members have. That's why they have 4 of them. It's not like this was an accidental slip-up. They've got 4 of them. The Court of Owls loses watches like candy. It's quite frankly amazing they rely on them for anything at all.
Okay, why meet now?
They're not vegans. They probably eat meat all the time. And so, despite having the wrong time and the wrong numbers from the times that we had in the first place, we come up with a location in Gotham.
It's the only place in the vicinity of the coordinates.
Yeah, it's lucky even though you got the wrong coordinates, we've somehow ended up at the right place. And I don't know why we've got that open music box in front of us. It's nothing to do with this scene at all. But at that moment, Blondie gets a call from a pharmacist. Yeah, we've got that medicine you've ordered, even though you didn't order any. And this is where she departs my heroes for the rest of the episode. So despite all the horror we've witnessed, there is an upside.
I have to go. Sorry.
Believe me when I tell you, you never need to apologize for leaving.
Is everything all right?
Well, it's looking up now, mate. But now we're back to the poor bloke whose wife can't keep it in her pants. Or I suppose out of would be more accurate. He's trying to stitch up the Bat-Brat. Wouldn't you know that guy tried to kill me as well? He already took down Bruce Wayne and now he's after me.
There are many unanswered questions to this brutal assault, but I only have one. Where is Harvey Dent?
Have you tried looking inside your wife? I don't know, maybe you were entering the room and he had no way out out, so he just climbed up there. But going back to the Bat Lunatics now, and they're deciding whether they should actually go and pay the Court of Owls a visit.
Do you know how insane that sounds? I mean, we might as well just chop off our own heads and get it over with.
I'm not hearing a downside to that guy's plan. I mean, hey, if you did it, you'd still have an 8-episode series. I think that's good enough. You still get a series and we get put out of our misery. I think it's a win-win. I also seem to have paused it on the strangest frame where it looks like he's only got one leg. Look, when I'm watching Gotham Knights, I have to make my own entertainment. Leave me alone.
We have the watches. We can just wait for the next meeting, get ourselves better prepared.
How are you going to be better prepared at the next meeting? What is going to change?
And what if there is no next time?
What do you even mean? Do you think that a criminal organization, which has ruled Gotham for hundreds of years, is suddenly just going to stop today? Also, another great pause. I did catch one of the actors breaking the fourth wall and checking to see if they were in camera frame. Uh-oh, I'm in line of sight. Better keep walking.
We have no idea.
Here's my mark. It's fine.
I'm done being afraid.
Sounds like you're done being alive.
This plan's looking better by the second. Think of it this way. The Court of Owls can celebrate today, and we can celebrate tomorrow when he doesn't come back.
We're talking about going into the belly of the beast.
Exactly.
What do you mean exactly? That's not a response when someone's going, you're being an idiot, and like, yes. He doesn't even go on to explain. He's just like, Chad, yes.
Exactly.
You're an idiot. Exactly. What? Because his next line's even worse.
That's the thing about owls. They have no natural predators.
There are some lines in the show which are physically painful, and that's one of them. I even knew that was coming, and it still didn't make it any better. The worst part is it's not even true. Buzzards and goshawks have been known to eat barn owls. Foxes will get lucky now and again, along with cats. Owl predators. What eats owls? Animals such as wildcats, foxes, weasels, snakes, squirrels, hawks, skunks, and eagles will all eat owls. Surprisingly, owls also prey on themselves, but he has a reason for it.
They don't know what it's like to be hunted, which means they won't see us coming.
Your analogies are some of the worst I've ever heard. Even animals which don't have predators still have eyes to see things coming. Elephants don't have predators, but they can still see things.
And how exactly do you plan to manage that?
You're not going to go, that's the most stupid analogy I've ever heard in my life. Do you think you should come up with a better one? Especially as your analogy is your logical reasoning for this entire awful plan. But they come up with their plan to dress up like the owls and infiltrate the base.
Okay, only problem is we don't have masks.
That's the biggest problem with his plan that you can see. I mean, you could make one in an hour. It looks like the costume department did.
I'm pretty sure I can print out exact replicas of these masks. I maybe have enough time to make 2 masks.
Hey, I told you could knock one up really fast. Of all the things that you thought would be most complicated, it was the plastic masks.
It's brilliant.
All right, mate, it's a 3D printer. He's not painting the Sistine Chapel. But as you can only print off 2, we've got to decide who can go in. And that will certainly save on the actors' wages for this episode. Meanwhile, Harvey Dent gets called by his fancy woman. She's like, I've got to tell you, my husband knows. Presumably, he had questions when he was the one that came out of hospital, and yet she was the one who couldn't walk properly. Castiel isn't called a tripod for nothing.
I think he knows.
How?
I'm not sure. His spies are everywhere.
Yeah, but are they in your bedroom? This seems like a very specific location you'd need to have spies in. Oh yeah, by the way, Harvey, I did forget to tell you, there's CCTV in the corner over there. It has night vision.
We should never have risked it.
That's true. At least wrap it up first, mate. You know where she's been. But then she starts playing the victim. Oh, there's another side of him that people don't see. He can be cruel and mean. I'm like, calm down, love. You're the one that's banging somebody else. You are the problem in this scenario, not him. If you wanted to leave, you know where the door is. Your problem was that you invited somebody else through it.
He can be a dangerous man.
So far, love, the most dangerous threat to your marriage is the fact that you're a whore.
Cruel, even.
Cruel, you say? Like bringing somebody else into your marriage bed
I'm getting you out of there.
would have meant a lot more if you didn't have her in there.
I'm afraid.
I'm so scared he might find out the truth about what I've done. Have you considered not doing it in the first place? I think that's probably the safest option.
We stick to the plan. Go in, get as much intel as we can, and get out.
That's not a very in-depth plan. In fact, I'm not even sure that's a plan. But despite the fact that the Bat Brat is dressed up like the Bat Brat, there is a second person involved. It's the Joker's daughter, like you've never seen her before.
How do I look?
Nailed it.
You look different.
Dude, with lines like that, it's a good job you're rich.
Sorry, you look,
This is just the steady descent into hell that keeps on going, isn't it?
It's okay. I'll take speechless.
That's actually a great plan for improving this script. If you can just all shut up for an hour, I think we'll enjoy it a lot more.
Actually, do you mind zipping me up?
I don't know what that was meant to be, but that was creepy, mate. I never even knew there was a fine line from "you took my breath away" to that.
I'm the one who's used to being around a bunch of privileged asshats.
That's no way to talk about the Gotham Knights. I mean, I know they're disgusting and repulsive, but this will probably go a lot smoother if I'm the one doing the put-downs.
Those with privilege are no more than glorified con artists whose superpower is tricking people into believing they're more deserving and better than the rest of us.
Right. That line takes on a different meaning when you realize this is out of Hollywood. We know who you think the privileged people are in society. Don't worry about the subtle commentary as it smashes you in the face. I've just noticed she has a wonky eye. I mean, it could just be camera perspective and the fact she's got her head tilted, but that is definitely an odd look.
I'm familiar with the type.
And it seems to be getting worse as time goes on.
I actually learned from the best con artist in Gotham.
Who?
Your mum. The old ones are the best, aren't they?
My mother.
Well, at least you didn't say your dad, because in this show, that makes you unique.
The more time passes, the harder I find it to remember what my mom even looked like.
I sympathize, mate, because that's how I feel about episodes 1 through 7.
It scares me.
I find it quite comforting.
Just promise me you won't do anything stupid.
Like, watch the next 5 episodes, you know. Nothing too insane.
Too late. I already volunteered to go with you.
Why are you just describing my life? Why are you doing this? 'Cause I'm already here! I'm too far in to give up now. But Castiel is like a dog on heat, which is why he's entering somebody else's bedroom again. Unfortunately, she's not there. For some reason, he checks the window. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure the door wasn't locked, as it's just a hotel room. Also, it's not as if he expected her to run. She was the one who surrendered herself to him. He had no reason to think she was going to run. She wanted something from him. So why are we checking the window as if he locked her in here so she couldn't escape? Fortunately, though, there's a cassette player on the bed. I'm assuming it says play me because this is 2023, and so a lot of people won't even know what to do with that thing. Of course, this is the music which drives him insane and turns him into Two-Face. So whoever controls him is the person that took him from the room, and this is just yet another plotline which I predicted in an earlier episode, and I'm completely right on. Seriously, by the end of this episode, basically all of my predictions were proven correct. It's rather insane. Like I say, with Gotham Knights, just choose the most predictable and worst answer, and that's going to be the plot. Oh no, we're doing Dutch angles because this is art. They watched Rings of Power and thought, that's amazing, I'm having some of that. But off to the party now, and the Gotham Knights are still driving around in that food truck. Because if you're going to infiltrate a secret party, it's very inconspicuous transport. The issue is, they did say this was a food van, and so I really only have one question for you. Where's the food? Where's the kitchen? Why does it look like a hippie van from the 1950s when it's supposed to be a kitchen? There's hats on the back and everything. Now, they do fit in with a camera and a microphone, but they say the wireless signal may not reach us, and so we're going to get Robin to plant a signal repeater on the roof, and that's a stupid device on its own, but we'll get to that later. I still want to know, how is this a kitchen? When I watched this the first time through, I didn't even listen to a single word they were saying, because I'm just looking at the background for any sign that this is a kitchen or a food van at all.
And I'll watch your 6 in case things go sideways.
How are you going to watch my 6 from outside? And if you say you're going to do it from the webcam, that's my front, not my 6. I'm not joking. How is this a food van?
What's wrong?
I can't find my goggles.
Oh, I forgot about this. In this episode, there are 2 really horrible things that happened to Batman, and this is one of them. Her goggles were a gift from Batman, so they will have come from Wayne Tech. They will have been the absolute cutting edge of everything. Made by a billionaire with virtually limitless resources, but don't worry.
That's my bad. I took the liberty of upgrading them.
Yeah, because they're only given to me by Batman himself, but don't worry, a 15-year-old high school dropout can upgrade them.
And plus side, they're a little less last decade.
Yeah, she didn't just upgrade them. She didn't take the current ones and improve them. She built an entirely new, different, and better pair that were also more fashionable for the superhero that also wants to put selfies on Instagram. Oh, Robin, what's your superpower? Well, it's that I'm fashion conscious. Actually, yes. You should see my social presence. It's out of this world. Mainly people asking for pictures of my Blue Jays, though, although they don't call them Jays. It's strange how so many people get those 2 birds confused.
Thank you.
Don't thank her. She's just ruined Batman's goggles. Your first instinct would be, oh no, what have you done? No one would trust a 15-year-old to improve on bat tech. And if she's going to improve anything, maybe she should have a look at those batarangs.
You two are gonna need these.
What was that? This guy is meant to have 3D printed them. They're meant to be plastic. Why did they make this noise? They're not ceramic. Sounded like he was handling a couple of plant pots.
They're perfect.
They're terrifying.
They're supposed to be 3D printed, but it's now time for Gotham Knights' favorite part of any episode.
Dad issues. Daddy issues.
Blondie's turned up at his work, and she is not happy.
Can we talk?
Do we have to?
Now you look at your phone?
Honey, you know I turned my phone off while we're filming.
I could have been in trouble or dead or something.
What are you doing? This is your dad you're speaking to. Don't give him false hope.
Oh, well, I certainly hope it's not the first 2.
Okay, he is definitely a villain because no good guy could lie that well.
I'm getting worried about Mom.
That basically summarizes her scenes for the rest of the episode, so I think we'll do a light touch through those. I don't know why any of this needs to be in a superhero show, But each week, it's like they take a character and then just go, daddy issues for the episode.
But I guess it doesn't really matter.
This has as much to do with the plot as Robin doing her homework in a hospital did. It never goes anywhere, and I'm sure it's never going to be mentioned again. She spends the scene going, I think the medication's a problem, and he's like, no. She's in pain, she needs it, and by the way, she can't go into rehab because think of the damage it would do to our family's reputation. I'm a celebrity. Remember how in an earlier episode I said it's surprising that her problems are caused by her mom and not her dad? Well, this episode makes it very clear that her dad is the one causing the problems.
Dad issues. Daddy issues.
This is why there was a Hollywood writer on strike with a sign that says, ChatGPT doesn't have childhood trauma. And it's like, no, that'll be an advantage because I'm fed up of you putting it in your series. Not a single soul on Earth cares about the writer's daddy issues.
Another case of a man taking credit for a woman's work.
Instead of writing it into every single character in every episode you do, just tell it to your dog or something. The dog won't like it either, but at least it has to pretend to like you for food. It's getting to the point where just having a dad in a show who isn't an arse actually gets it bonus points. Whereas this is so overdone in this show, I would be taking points off you if you had any left to take.
I love that you never make any effort at all.
Trust me, they will find out.
I have a feeling they dubbed over that one because her reaction is way over the top for what he said. They will find out. It's like he screamed at her or something.
The more people know about you, the more they try to use it against you.
I think that's meant to be, oh, look at him, he's so paranoid. Let's face it, it's probably good advice when he is just talking about his wife. And you know they've had an argument where it's like, I can't believe you've done this. She's like, well, 5 years ago at 4:37 on this day, you did this. He's like, I can't even remember what I ate this morning. How can you bring up something I said 5 years ago? Men aren't built for that kind of recollective power.
So you would rather we ignore it than get her help?
If it means I don't have to watch any more of this scene, yes. Back over to the Bat Brats, and they're infiltrating the Court of Owls. Until I get my Joker's Daughter and Granny spin-off show, this is about as good as we're going to get. Now, they do see a couple walk up to the door, and he clearly holds out his wrist onto the wall before they enter. Don't worry, though, we're only infiltrating a top-secret party. We don't need to pay attention to the people who are telling us how to get in through the front door. That's why they get to the door and have no idea how to get inside. Never saw the other couple knock, did you? They try the handle, still can't get in. The camera starts looking at them as if there's something suspicious here. They don't seem to know what to do. The other couple get suspicious as well. What on earth is happening?
I hate to be that girl, but unless this door opens, we are gonna die.
What kind of girl is that? How many doors do you go up to which are gonna kill you? How does that happen so often that it's actually become a trope? Luckily, though, this top secret party has carved out a hole with an owl in it. Just so if you happen to be walking up and don't know what to do, there's your answer. It's always handy when your security measures are very well labelled, isn't it? So he decides to take his watch off and hold it up there manually, despite the fact that no one else has done this. Although it does work, opens the door and they go in. Why didn't you just show it the face, mate? Also, if these watches are electronic ID cards, don't you think it would have gone, hang on, Dave's watch is here? Not only did he report that watch stolen, but he's already at the party. How does the Court of Owls have security this awful? We're so advanced we have electronic security cards in our watches, and yet not even any basic security based on it. So then Robin over here very stealthily sneaks up under cover of darkness to lay down the signal relay so that the comms work inside the building, ever so stealthily in complete and utter pitch black darkness. It's a shame that your receiver has LEDs flashing all over it then, isn't it? Sure, no one's going to see that. You don't even need LEDs on a signal receiver. You know full well when someone designed that, they were like, well, we need it to look high-tech, so just stick some LEDs on it. It doesn't matter that it's part of a stealth mission. By the way, these are the goggles that are supposed to be fashionable. But the two of them enter the party, and if there's one thing we know about the Court of Owls, it's that they love candles. All over the place. Turner decides to grab Joker's hand to blend in.
What are you doing?
Figure we need to look the part.
I've heard of a lot of excuses before, but that's a new one.
I'll allow it.
And so, as they enter the main area of the party, we end up with something that I think is meant to look luxurious, but really, you can't get past the fact that this is done in a dank, abandoned power station. I just think the rich and powerful that own a city would have chosen a nicer location. Of course, as we're looking around, there's just a load of swords for absolutely no reason whatsoever that we zoom in on. Because if there's one thing paranoid criminals love, it's just having random weapons lying around next to each other at meetings. Most people are disarmed going into criminal meetings, but here, no. Hey, pick one up. If you didn't bring your own, we brought them to you. I'm sure they're not going to get used later. But at that moment, the music stops. We're about to find out the point of this meeting.
I've convened this parliament.
Ah, yes, because the collective name for owls is a parliament. I see what you did there. It's a shame you didn't call them the Ravens, because then you could have had an unkindness, a rave, treachery, or a conspiracy of ravens. In practice, most people use the more generic flock, but why would you do that when you could have so much more fun? But they say after 100 years, we've finally recovered the map that the traitor Alan Wayne took from us. The map that will lead us to the thing we truly desire.
Spent decades to find Electrum.
Yeah, I don't know what Electrum is.
What the hell's Electrum?
Okay, at this point, you're just taking my lines. Now, in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, Electrum is an alloy of gold and silver. But they're probably not talking about that, or indeed have done much reading at all. But it is this Electrum that they're searching for that will allow them all to be immortal, and is presumably what they gave to Talon, which is why he can recover from all kind of wounds and not die.
We will reach heights those who came before us dared only dream of.
What, writing a good script?
We will achieve our greatest triumph of all.
Getting an audience score higher than the critics on Rotten Tomatoes?
Mastery over death.
I mean, Talon's already been given Electrum, and he certainly hasn't mastered death. I mean, at this point, his failure rate is probably about 80%. He has to be the worst assassin on the Earth. Even accidentally, he should have been more successful than that.
We will stand impervious to that which would make us wither and decay.
I think he's talking about Hollywood. I have achieved mastery of the writer's room, and as the rest of Hollywood withers and dies, I shall remain as the one getting paid under my new union contract. You thought you could fire me for doing poor quality work? No, but I have collective bargaining.
We shall live forever.
Now, at this point, you may realize that his mask doesn't actually cover him up very well. You can 100% guess who this guy is from his hair, which was another plot thread that I predicted way back at the start of the series. For some reason, all of my predictions came true in episode 8. I don't know why. But now we're back. Blondie's arrived home and her mum is on the sauce, shall we say? And some other stuff.
Caught you red-handed.
Yeah, but which way? Because Blondie isn't happy. She moans, "Oh, I can't believe you've done this. You need to stop doing it."
This new pain specialist that I'm seeing.
Who treats the prescription pad like they're sticky notes.
That's basically the entire scene. So Blondie goes and she grabs the product of the sticky notes, runs away to the bathroom, flushes them, and in the background, her mum is extremely distraught, smashing everything, screaming. And it's all about as entertaining as stepping on Lego. Nor does it have anything to do with the superhero show or the plot. I think she's just found out there's not going to be a season 2, but the geniuses in the hippie Vood van are trying to work out what Electrum is, and so they decide to Google it.
Special substance that increases lifespan.
How is stuff like that even possible?
You're the ones writing the show. It's your job to justify it to me, not the other way around, mate. I'm not going to come up with a reason for it.
You can always ask our 130-year-old Talon the next time you see him.
I mean, you might as well. It's not going to be dangerous. He's failed to kill you about 5 times. At this point, he's probably safer around Talon than you are crossing the road.
Great. So we have a murderous cult that wants to be murderous forever.
I'm not touching that one.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
But she finds an article from the 1920s which talks about a meteorite coming to Earth which had a mineral in it which had incredible healing properties. So this is a group of people who want to live forever because of aliens. Yes, I know this is DC, so aliens actually exist. But could you at least introduce it gently into your plot? Normally, if you want stuff like this in your story, it's actually put in earlier on and you build up to it. This is just like, yay, asteroids from space.
Sleuthing the web is not my forte. Okay, Blondie picked a hell of a day to ghost us.
Hey, when it comes to Blondie, every day is a good day for her to ghost you.
Wow, what a change.
What do you mean?
Usually you can't stand being around her.
Based economy.
Issue is, Bat-Brat and Joker have decided they're going to steal the map. It's too important to let the owls have it if it can literally make them live forever. Now, luckily, at that moment, they take the painting off to a private room. And so these two decide to follow. Pretty strange plan, though, when she just punches him in the stomach.
It's really a shame you're not feeling well.
What? What the hell do you do that for?
No need to complain, mate. I've seen you fight. Judging by that, you could learn from her form. Although we do get this accent.
So, my husband is really not feeling well, and I'd really like to get him some air.
My husband is feeling terribly unwell.
Come on, darling. Come.
Oh, come on, darling, this way. Just through the door. What is happening? But with that, they head downstairs to the map, which, even though it's in a storage room, still has just candles everywhere. I don't know why. Nobody's going to see it in here. It's a storage room. Somehow, though, security guards have found them. Doesn't say how. We don't know why. Look, the script said fight must happen at this point, and so they appeared out of thin air. Now, the two of them do pull their guns, which means that the Joker disarms one of them by throwing her mask. Yeah, I'm sure that will have stopped him shooting you in the face, love. You'll definitely be fine now. The rest of the fight continues in typical CW fashion. There is one bit where I don't know how his leg attaches to his body, because that's his foot pointing towards his face, but watch as he gets up. It's the fastest cut ever because I'm pretty sure none of that worked. Even as I was watching it, my brain just went, what? But they defeat the two security guards, which is probably why we couldn't have a fight at the start of the episode. Look, choreography is expensive. We can't have that twice in a superhero show. That'd be insane. So they take the painting by cutting it out of the frame, and then Joker has a very unique way of transporting this thing. It's made out of like a metal sheet, which is why when they set the painting on fire, it didn't damage it. so she rolls it up like a poster.
Easy peasy.
Where are you shoving that, love? And why do you look so happy about it?
Ready to make like our feathered friends and fly?
How are you not commenting on where she shoved that poster, dude? What else have you got shoved up there? Is this going to be like Mary Poppins' bag? You're just pulling out like lamps and a bed. What's that? You need a getaway vehicle? Hang on, I've got a Ferrari for you. Just let me... Look, I know Dungeons and Dragons have bags of holding, but that is taking it to a new extremes. Did James Gunn sign off on that one?
Right out the front door.
I'm assuming she stored it in her front door, because otherwise it's even worse. But at that moment, just as they're making their escape, the leader has another announcement.
There is a traitor in our midst.
Oops. How can we track them? Well, one of them seems to be leaving a snail trail right to the front door. It's them! Now, at this moment, I would be running. They decide to stop and turn around. I would definitely be running. Well, now they're all staring at me, I'd definitely be running. You're going to die. Luckily for them, though. Don't worry, it's the worst assassin in the world, and his prey, who again he hasn't killed. Hey, this is a professional assassin who's lived for over 100 years, and that I'm pretty sure is still in single figures when it comes to kills. It does mean, though, that they're in the clear, and so if I was them, I'd make like a pineapple and run as fast as I can out of the pizzeria. If I stay here, I'm going to bring about the apocalypse. I need to scarp her, and quickly.
This doesn't make any sense.
This is Gotham Knights. Why did you expect it to make any sense? I learned that in episode 2. Nobody is watching this show for you to make sense.
I say relax and enjoy the show.
Joker is easily the best character in the entire show, and always will be.
We took her off the streets.
Wait, you're talking about her or Castiel's fancy woman? Oh no, I forgot, she's still on the streets. But he starts doing this big speech. I can't believe she's betrayed us. We gave her everything. You have betrayed us, and so that means death.
What do you have to say for yourself?
At least I can get a job in another show. Thanks, mate.
It's true.
What can I say, love? Some truths are self-evident. You don't need to say them out loud.
You've given me all that I could have wanted. Wealth, power, status.
All right, love, this isn't a podcast in California. You can say something else. You've given me everything I could have wanted. Children? No. No, money, fame, and power. What every Hollywood writer desires. I don't think writers understand that this reveals what they think is important. She literally said, you gave me everything. And her idea of everything is money, power, and status. How miserable.
I broke the trust of those that were most dear to me, and all it cost me was everything.
She's talking about, oh, I can't believe you made me betray my friends. But she's not talking about anything that would actually have made her happy that wasn't money, power, and status. Like a family, for instance. Truly, the modern Hollywood ideal. But she says I couldn't stand by when I found out what you were going to do. You want to become immortal and do what I've been doing forever? That's how insane her story is. She's like, yes, okay, I was willing to go along with you as long as I thought I was going to die in 70 years alongside you. But now I found out that you want to do this forever? Well, then I had to betray you. What? Okay, so you're fine with betrayal and killing for like 40 years? But not for 400 years, that's taking it too far. How is she meant to be the moral one in this scenario?
The horrors you seek to become.
Not the horrors they seek to become. They already are the horrors, they're just going to do it for longer.
Found something in myself that I lost. A conscience.
That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why this would come about in you. Yes, I'm okay with the atrocities you're committing for decades, just not centuries. Doesn't make any sense. Either what they're doing is wrong and it should be stopped, or it isn't.
I know I'm irredeemable, but you and your court are the true monsters.
Look, I know I'm irredeemable, but you're irredeemable times 2. Does that make it worse? I'm not really sure. I know I'm the lowest of the low, but you're worse. But with that, he's had enough of her whining and tells Talon to do the dirty business. Honestly, he should know better. This is Talon. He'll miss.
What the hell are you doing?
I can't let her die.
I can. Look, this is Gotham Knights. If this is her last episode, she'll be free to do other work. She will literally be going to a better place. If that's not mercy, I don't know what is. But Joella tries to convince him, she killed your father. What on earth are you risking your life for?
You're really willing to risk everything to save someone as awful as her.
My dad would.
To be fair, he's dead. Are we sure he's the best person to be taking advice from at this point? Because normally I'd be like, this is Batman. Obviously you can take his advice. It's Batman. But this is Gotham Knights, where Batman has been a complete idiot from start to finish. Everything he's done has been exactly the wrong thing to do. They have completely and utterly annihilated Batman as a person and a character throughout this entire show. I wouldn't recommend taking his advice on anything at this point. But at that moment, their time is up.
Finish it.
Look, cool it with the theatrics, Talon. We all know you're gonna miss. Even at this distance, I think you're gonna miss. But as he goes to swing, the Bat-Rat has a different plan. And, Talon loses his head. Those swords we zoomed in on earlier really coming in clutch. So then, all of the Court of Owls decide to run away. You would have thought they would have just all pulled out guns and shot him, but apparently no, we're scared. So instead, there's just 2 security guards left. Joker takes out one of them. I don't know how she would have got on if the security guard hadn't front flipped himself onto the floor, but here we are. She runs out the front door. I know what you're wondering. Why is the Bat-Brat not with her? Surely it would have been safer to stick together and leave the same way, which is the shortest distance to the van. He could have even helped her when she runs into 2 security guards. Luckily for her, though, Robin is there. She throws 2 batarangs, which makes the security guards fly backwards. How do 2 batarangs do that? What? They're little tiny things that go in about that deep in your shoulder. How hard did she throw them at them to make them go, ah? Earlier in the series, she threw them at a guy who was just like, what on earth is this? That was reasonable given the damage that they do. That was farcical. But here's Robin to save the day, as the Bat-Brat and the hostage leave out the back.
Why would you save my life?
I have no idea either. She even wants to move on to another series, and quite frankly, who can blame her?
It was the right thing to do.
Was it, though? What good has actually been done in this scenario? Oh, yay, I saved someone, so now they can go out into the world and commit further atrocities.
Something you wouldn't know anything about.
I'm not sure you know anything about it, mate. I think your moral compass is as accurate as that watch earlier, to be honest. But in a desperate attempt to save their lives, they run out into the forest towards the city.
They should have been back by now.
That's true. The door is about 60 meters that way. It's a very short run. But the pair of them return. And so if Bat-Brat had just followed them, he would have been with them as well. I still don't know why they split up in the first place. In fact, I'm going to rewind back to that scene and see if he explains why he went in a different place.
Take the map. Meet back at the truck.
No. It's just like, you go that way, we'll meet at the truck. Yeah, but why are we splitting up? We're just reducing our ability to fight and increasing the likelihood that one of us gets overwhelmed separately. This is a stupid plan. But as they run through the forest...
Thank you. I know I don't deserve...
I don't want your gratitude. I want answers.
And you got answers in the van?
I'll tell you what I can. I owe you that much.
Oh, finally. I mean, if only you'd told Harvey Dent at the start of the episode, we could have avoided all of this. Would have been like, oh, she got kidnapped by the Court of Owls. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we already know her information. Let her become one of Henry VIII's wives. But he finds out the court was after her because they found out about her talking to Harvey.
Guilt is a parasite that'll eat at your soul until there's nothing left but emptiness.
Honestly, that's a similar feeling to just watching a CW series. Just how do you go through watching all of these series? Practice, actually. It's too late for me. Run. Save yourself.
After the last time I saw you, I discovered what they plan to do with Electrum.
This is where everything falls apart and gets really, really horrible. Really, really fast. Sure, we've had the rest of the episode, but now it's quick-fire reveals, with everything getting worse than the one before. We managed to destroy so many things so quickly, your head will spin. Because she starts moaning that they'll become an immortal criminal empire, which I'm not sure why she cares.
They will be a nearly immortal dynasty that will rule over Gotham in perpetuity. They will continue to grow fat.
Basically McDonald's then, isn't it?
Your father understood that, which is why he changed his will.
Oh, yeah. If you ever wanted to annihilate a character and a series and an entire IP in one very short little clip, well, here we are with this one. Let's find out how Batman was going to save the world. Bearing in mind that he's dedicated his life to fighting crime. Literally. Don't you understand? All of that was pointless. Everything Batman has done in his entire life is pointless. But he'd realized how he can improve, how he can be better. All he has to do is embrace Hollywood ideology. What a coincidence.
What was in it? What was it that got him killed?
Yeah, which is strange actually, because normally it's people that embrace this ideology that do the killing.
Your father was going to give his fortune to the people of Gotham.
Oh yes. Don't you understand? Batman had solved the problem of Gotham. He knew why people were committing crime, and his solution was simply to give up, to give all of his money away to everyone. And that'll just magically make everything better.
The city's poor would no longer have to resort to crime to survive.
Which they never did in the first place, and has been proven time and time again to have no effect. People don't commit crime because they're horrible criminals. The environment made them do it. They're not responsible for their own actions. They're just a product of a situation that they can't help, which is probably why we should just let them all go. Can't imagine where people get these ideas.
Crime thrives on poverty. The court thrives on crime. Bruce wanted to break that cycle. The court couldn't have that.
If only Batman, Bruce Wayne, had overcome his greed and embraced redistributive wealth, then all of Gotham's problems would have gone away. All that time he spent literally destroying his body by destroying criminals that didn't do anything, didn't stop it, still there. All Batman had to realize was that he was the problem, and then he could have solved everything once and for all. But of course, once he grabbed that hammer and sickle, the elite class of Gotham couldn't stand it, and they had to stop him, because he'd seen the truth. He'd awoken to the true problem, and the rich elite class had to stop him. I don't know, all of this is ringing a bell somewhere. It's reminding me of something, I just can't quite work out what it is.
Give me the name of their leader, and I'll burn the court to the ground.
Yeah, we just washed past that in the script, by the way. Let's just drop this as obvious fact, accept it, and move on. No one's going to question it, or even think about it for a second, and we're certainly not going to give you time to analyze it in any way, shape, or form to work out if it's complete nonsense. This is an obvious, self-evident fact, and we're going to treat it that way. No one's going to question it, because this is a self-evident fact of reality. But don't worry, it gets worse. This is just the start of the descent into hell, because these two have been having a conversation, which, as conversations do, means you face each other. Please explain this, then.
It's not that simple.
I want a name.
We all know what that means. Someone's behind her, with a sword. How can there be someone behind her when he's been looking at her through the entire conversation? He's talking to her, he's watching people walk up behind her, and he doesn't move or say anything, he just lets them. Is he insane? And if you think I'm over-exaggerating how stupid this situation is, that's the look of surprise on his face, and that is the group of people who have approached up behind her. How could you not have seen any of these people? I laughed for about 2 minutes straight the first time I saw it, because it's the most ridiculous situation you could have made in a TV series. He's just watching the entire Court of Owls walk up behind her, and there's, oh no, I didn't see any of them. Why are you surprised? Got pissing lanterns, mate. They were glowing in the dark as they were walking up behind her. This isn't a stealth mission. Then there's a guy over here who comes up from behind him. How did he come up behind you as well? That means he was actually faster than you and got around when none of them knew who you were. They're just surrounded by a load of people with glowing torches that nobody could spot for some reason in the dark. If this is your situational awareness, I have no sympathy. But they decide not to kill him because we've got plans for this one. They cut the comms with the group, so now they know he's been captured, essentially. And then for absolutely no reason, we cut back to Blondie's house. I don't know, presumably to calm down from that utter abomination of whatever we call storytelling. Look, I'm sorry we just destroyed Batman and then introduced you to the funniest and most ridiculous scenario in all of the series. Do you want to calm down with someone whining about their fifis for a bit? Now, if you want to know what happens in this scene, it's very simple to tell you. It's basically him just telling her it's all your fault. An explanation I'm more than willing to believe.
If I ask you to help your mother, you help her.
Okay, mate, but I can't help wondering, why do you look so different in this scene? Is his hair normally back? I can't even remember. I just think it's weird for someone who's so obviously losing their hair to also put them in a wig which has such long hair.
Because you do not make the decisions in this family. Your mother and I do.
Based economy.
Dude, calm down. There's only so many times I can use that clip. He even gives the, haha, got you stupid little child. I'm pretty sure the tears are meant to make me feel sorry for her. Anyway, the gang starts saying, oh, we've got to go back and save him. I'd like, what do you think you're going to do? You don't even know where he is.
We don't even know where he is.
See? I didn't even know that was his line. But Joker's getting all distraught. The most distraught out of all of them. We've got to go and save him. Ah, he's in danger. Clearly, at this point, the shipping is meant to be hitting another level. And so she's really panicking. And Robbie's like, no, we've got to live, regroup, fight another day. But Joker starts ripping into all of them. You think you're going to be heroes? You're meant to be his friend. But as they take the Bat-Rat away, all of the incredibly stealthy people carrying massive lanterns through the darkness leave with him. Remember, they walk straight at him and he couldn't see any of them. What is this show? But at that moment, under a full moon, he reveals his mask for the least shocking reveal of all time. It's the guy I said was in the Court of Owls in episode 2. The moment he appeared, I'm like, well, he's in the Court of Owls. I only changed my mind later when Talon attacked him. Now I don't know why Talon attacked him. And I don't think it makes a better story. You made something really obvious, so I thought it was true. So you added a plot hole about, well, he can't be that stupid. And like, no. We are definitely that stupid. But don't worry, we're not done with cliched, predictable tropes yet that I also said was going to happen. We wake up inside a mask. It's Harvey Dent in the Court of Owls. Something else I predicted. Harvey doesn't know it, but I'm sure his alter ego is actually in the Court of Owls, and yes, he is. Pretty close to the action as well. And that was a really strange episode because it's just quick fire trash at the end after a build-up of utter insanity where we even get our own puzzles wrong. Nothing makes sense. We get to answers that we couldn't have, and we can't even get the clock right. And all of that was solely built up so we could ship the Joker and Bat-Rat a little bit more. We can take Batman's legacy, which we've been steadily hacking out throughout the rest of the series, and utterly nuke it. Look, I know Batman, you've dedicated your life to this city, but you were actually the problem. And once you overcome your greed and engage in redistributive wealth, that is what will truly save us all. With writing like that, Hollywood, I don't mind that you've gone on strike, because we need to hire people outside of your strange little twisted bubble. The rest of the world thinks that's insane. And you're just like, no, this is factual reality, folks. You don't realize that the reason nobody agrees with you is because you're utterly insane. So we're going to take Batman's legacy and just crap on it from a height, and then we're going to move swiftly past that so that nobody thinks of it and just takes it as assumed fact and put it next to 2 Owls reveals, which I'm pretty sure was meant to shock all of us. And yet I've called episodes and episodes ago. In fact, I called the boyfriend's father in the Court of Owls in the second scene he was in, possibly the first. And we combine all of that with the fact that Batman's son was looking at a horde of the Court of Owls walking towards him with lanterns in the dark, and he doesn't even warn the woman in front of him that there's someone behind her and gets her killed. Seriously, some of the funniest moments of this series in this episode. Some of the most destructive part of law in this episode. All wrapped together in one glorious mess of your standard typical CW writing. And if there's one takeaway from this, one thing to remember, I think it's this. Hollywood writers are currently striking for more hours and more pay. And really, after this episode, do you think they deserve it? Well, leave your answers down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.